My grandma came during the war in Yugoslavia. My grandfather was purchased on the black market.
As far as this staging is concerned, right? Why do you think it's a game changer in selling your house, especially in Canada?
And the condo that she had for sale that we had staged sold for 30,000 more than the other one.
Wow. Is there any difference between a home stager and an interior designer?
Declutter.
Okay.
Number one, and like way more than you're thinking of decluttering. Sometimes people have weird artwork on the wall, so we kind of I've seen some things. Okay. There was a dining room, and there was a whole bear on the wall sticking out. People make their decision on a house in the first like minute and 30 seconds that they walk in. You're touching or you're asking like, "Hey, can we remove this?" And they're just like, "No," and I'm like, "Okay, no problem." You try to be,
Should the house smell like freshly baked cookies? So one furniture piece every staged home must have.
Yeah, we have a few. A few.
Hello, namaste. Are you planning to sell your house in Canada? Then you must know that home staging can add a great value to the price of your house. In this podcast, we are going to talk about home staging. And for this, we have Sabrina as a guest, who is a professional home stager here in the national capital of Canada. We are talking about home staging from both perspectives, that is, home stager as a profession or a career, and home staging as a service. So, without any further delays, let's start. This is Sabrina on Chai with Chander. Sabrina, welcome to Chai with Chander. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You're most welcome. It's a nice day for a drive, right?
Beautiful.
I hope I didn't bother you in your work schedule today.
No, we're already work a lot of weekends. So yeah, it's the job, right?
Yeah. So being a stager, your weekends are usually busy?
Yes.
Or,
Yeah, weekends and evenings. Well, we do work around people's schedules, and those of us who work during the week, well, they want to see you in the evening or on the weekends. So
okay, well, I really want to thank you for sparing time on weekend and driving to my studio and giving time for my English podcast, Chai with Chander. I'm not sure, did you watch my previous episodes or not, but I start my question in podcast from an immigration point of journey. I understand that you are not a first generation immigrant, but I would like to start this podcast from the same flow as well. Do you have any idea about your immigration journey when your forefathers came here in this beautiful country?
Yeah, I have a little bit of one. My grandma came during the war in Yugoslavia. My grandfather was purchased on the black market.
Okay.
And we think he is from Greece, but we're not sure. So there's this whole backstory to all of this. So yeah, my grandparents came.
Okay. So you've been here in Canada since your birth, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Have you ever been to your home country?
I have. Yeah. So basically, it would be what's considered Croatia now. Once they've separated all the countries. But yeah, we visited. Beautiful. Europe is it's amazing.
This is good. Yeah, it's beautiful to know people's immigration journey in this country because as I was talking to you off camera, I was talking to my neighbor other day, and his forefathers came like 400 years ago, right? He is completely Canadian, like probably maybe 8 or 9 generation, but they still connect themselves to back home. Do you think being an immigrant, you might be having many friends in your friend circle who are first generation immigrant. Do you feel it's easier for people like you who are born here than a person who is a first generation immigrant? I'm talking in perspective of their career journey. Do you think it's different?
I think it is different for sure, depending on the language barriers. It could be the culture is different, but there's such a way to excel and to to make it happen. I have a colleague of mine who is first generation immigrant from Lebanon.
Okay.
And I work with her. We're very close, and I kind of see her journey and what she maybe struggles with, and it's amazing to see what she's doing now. And we are doing the same work at the same level. She's amazing. So,
Okay, that's cool. Okay, let's get to our topic today.
Yes.
So, as you know, you are a professional stager, and our talk is going to be around that.
Yeah.
Let's start with a very basic question. What is a home stager?
Yeah, so essentially a home stager is someone who prepares your home for the market, the real estate market, to list it. That's the biggest part of our job. But we also help people with redecorating their homes so that, you know, instead of doing this when you sell, you do it to live in it and enjoy it too. So that's the biggest thing that we do, though, is getting people ready to list their house on the real estate market.
Okay. Is there any difference between a home stager and an interior designer?
Yes, an interior designer goes through schooling, much more intense schooling. They can remodel your home, like a lot of the renovations, picking out like counters, and it's a lot more in depth than what we do, for sure. There's a big difference between the two.
Interesting to know, because for a layman perspective, it looks like a similar job, right?
Yeah, but they're really like taking into account what you like. You know, you go to the client, what do you want in your home? Versus with staging, we're trying to please everybody who's going to come visit, right? So we're keeping it neutral. And so with the designer, though, she really takes in what you want and it's your project. Versus home staging, it's how can we appeal to the most amount of people.
Okay, so in interior designing, the client is in charge.
Yeah.
And for your profession, you are
I'm in charge.
That's cool.
Yeah, you have to listen to me.
Okay, as you mentioned the school, right? So let's talk about the career thing as a stager. How to become a stager?
So the way there's several ways. There's I know there's courses in Quebec where you can do it in person. Because when I started, it was COVID, so I did mine online. So just an online certification. That was all I needed to start this.
So you don't need a license. It's not a regulated profession, right?
No, it's not. There are like regulatory bodies that you can subscribe to if you want, but it's not necessary to start.
And as you mentioned, the courses, is there any length of these courses, or does it just depend from institution to institution?
I think it depends but there's a lot, because online you have access to the courses in the States, in Canada, so it's fun to have it online because you can have all these different people. And every year I take a course to help the business. So like last year I took a painting course, so how to choose paint color. So every year I add on to the home staging base that I have.
Upgrading yourself. Huh?
Yes, I think that's important.
It's really important. When did it came to your mind? I mean, why did you choose this profession as a stager? Is it your first profession, or you moved from somewhere else?
That could be a big question. So I actually went to university and studied political science. So I was going to go into the government, which is like the classic living in Ottawa job. So, and then I started kind of applying for jobs, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to like this to be sitting a lot and you know, it's very like lots of writing. When you try to apply to the government, it's something else. So when I started applying, I kind of realized that I didn't want to do that anymore. After 6 years of post-secondary education, I kind of changed my mind. And then COVID hit, and I guess I was bored one day, and I came across home staging just kind of out of the blue. And I was like, oh, let me try this. And then I noticed that around here, there were only 2 or 3 other people doing that. So I found a niche, and it was kind of luck and just being at home during COVID and bored and decided
that was here in Gatineau?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've always had an eye for design. Like I think if you have an eye for design, it's very easy to do the home staging job. It kind of comes naturally with a few set of skills that you need to learn during the certification.
Did you find any difficulties in the process of being a stager when you were preparing for courses and then obviously you are a self-employed, right?
Yes.
So did you started as a self-employed, or you were part of a company, right?
No, I started by myself.
So how difficult was it?
It was before I did this, I also had a cleaning company. So before I had my third child, I had a cleaning company. So that kind of set me up as to how to start a business. That really helped me. So it was very easy to transition to home staging. Like once you know the steps to start a business, it's kind of can be applied to anything.
Okay.
So.
It's just like a general business. There are no specific challenge of starting a stager business, right?
I don't think so. Not for me particularly. It was because again, I'm in a very niche place where there was no real like competition or a lot of other people doing it. Because when you walk into a space, a business space, and there's already like 30, 40 competitors, that would be very difficult. I kind of lucked out and got in at a very good time.
Okay, let's put it in another word. Can you identify top 3 skills which are best for being a stager?
Yeah, so I would say an eye for design and for details, customer service. You need to be able to talk to all kinds of different people who are selling because they're upset or they're going through something really difficult, or so you really need to have those people skills. And the third, I think you need to have some sort of entrepreneurial spirit to be able to build a business, so I think those are probably the 3 things.
And what type of traits or characteristics, if you have, and you should not go to this profession, can you identify a couple of them?
You should not go? Well, if you're really shy and can't hold a conversation with anyone, I don't think you should go, because you're walking into people's private homes, right? Like you need to be able to talk to them, make them feel comfortable, because you're opening all their closets and drawers. So I think if you don't have people skills, maybe not the right job for you. But those can be developed, right? Like it's that would probably be the biggest one, because once you get the staging down, you kind of repeat those steps everywhere you go. But the people skills it takes time to build.
When we see, in a bird eye view, people choose career because of either of one thing, either for the money, it's a good money making business or a profession, or they really like it, they love it, although there is not a high paid jobs, but I like it, what I'm trying to say. So being a stager, where you will go, is it like more you love this job, or you can make a good money as well?
I started because I just loved it. I loved like rearranging my furniture. I loved placing things. I love design. I love making things look good. So that's why I started, because when I started, I worked for maybe 2 realtors in the first year. And we've grown this to, I couldn't imagine that I would be here 3 years later. Yeah, so I really started from passion, which kind of developed into the money kind of flowing in afterwards.
We really, get deep inside this career thing. Let's move forward. You already defined like what is a stager, right? So as far as this staging is concerned, right, why do you think it's a game changer in selling your house, especially in Canada?
Yeah. In the United States, I find it's more common. It's something that you just do and you don't think of. But in Canada, or in here specifically, it's not really... When I first started 3 years ago, there was way less people doing it than they're doing now. So slowly, we're really starting to see that people like the staging, they see the results. It really helps people get ready to be on the market. You're not just by yourself, not really knowing what to do or how to do it. It's not a normal thing to live in a staged house. So
So do you think staging can really increase the selling price of a house?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's
a lot of stats online on this of houses selling for more when they're staged, or easier or faster. But there's also other factors to take into account when we're selling. But it's a good tool to have to add to, having professional photos, having staging, having someone do a video of your house. Like it's all these things that are going to help someone sell.
Okay. Do you have any idea like how much you can get better in price?
I had a realtor tell me once because I was asking her the same question. I'm like, it would be fun to because you can't quantify it, right?
That's right.
It's so she was telling me we had there was 2 condos.
Okay.
One was empty and one that we staged completely. So the house was empty. We brought in all the furniture, and the condo that she had for sale that we had staged sold for $30,000 more than the other one. That's an extreme example for a condo, but those are like kind of the ways that you can see it. And they do surveys for people to kind of get an idea of what staging does. And
Okay, that's interesting because you talked about this recent thing,
Yeah.
So let's talk about some trends and styles in staging. What do you think in current time? What are the most trendy styles and design in staging these days?
Yeah, in staging, we all have our own style. We particularly like the neutral style, just very calm colors, because I find that's a way that, if you're somebody who really likes color, then neutral colors, it won't bother you. But if you're somebody who's bothered by a lot of color and it's too much, if you walk into a house and it's red, turquoise, yellow, like colors everywhere, we want to tone that down. So we're all about neutral, soft, calm energy when you walk in, and just it helps you look at the house even more than just being distracted by all these colors or things. Or
So I just want to go inside your brain actually, how a stager think, because you don't know who is going to visit your house, and as you said, it depends person to person, right? So being a stager, do you feel pressure when you are doing staging in a house?
Pressure in what sense?
Like you don't know who is coming and gonna see the house, right? Let's say you are doing natural things and somebody likes more luxury or some more dark or pop-up kind of colors. So
I think you just have to tell them why we're doing that, why we're toning down, why we will work with every space. So if we're in a $2 million house, the furniture we bring in is going to be different than a $400,000 house. We really, depending on who we're seeing or what house we're seeing, the service changes, what we're going to do. But I don't feel pressure, or we can work through everything. Probably when I first started, if somebody would have been like, oh no, I want to keep my red, I was like, okay. But now I try to really explain why we're doing it, and people tend to understand once you've explained that.
Yeah, because I asked this question, like I'm purchasing a furniture and without my wife I'm at some like let's say IKEA, right? So I feel pressure whether she will like it or not, right? And when you are doing, you don't even know what kind of persons are gonna visit the house, right?
That's why we try to show our Instagram page. We try to show our work before so that you kind of know what you're expecting. And most people's reaction are they love it, and they even want to hire us to come to their new house and decorate it. So we usually have very good feedback from people.
And that gives you more confidence, right?
It does, with time it does. And and then you see and we make sure everything's ready for your photos too. So the photos usually end up looking really good as well. So
Okay, makes sense. Are there any regional preferences as well?
Are there any what?
Regional preferences, because there are many provinces, right? I'm talking about like you are staging a house in Ontario. Versus you are staging a house in Quebec. So are there any regional preferences while you are staging these things? Like people in Ontario like this kind of stuff?
Yeah. But it goes back to the point of it's not really what the seller likes. And we're just trying to make it a nice home for everyone. Kind of like a model home. You walk into a model home, whether you walk in Quebec or in Ontario, they're going to have that kind of same vibe, like easy furniture to look at. The space is going to feel clear, big. So
you don't think there are regional preferences for these things, right?
There might be. I think between Canada and the US, there definitely is, because I follow Stager and the stagings are not the same. And it also depends. I think if you're in an area where homes are 1 million plus on average, it's going to be different than in Gatineau where they're 450,000 average.
You brought a really good point. I heard somewhere that it's not worth to stage a house if it's less than $500,000. Is it true?
Well, here a lot of houses are $500,000. It's rare to have them over $1 million. So no, for sure. I think everyone deserves to have a beautiful home, to be proud of their home, and to put it on the market, having it staged for sure.
Okay. Let's move to some practical tips. So, what are some must-do things when you're staging house? If let's say you are giving suggestion
Yes.
to the homeowner, so what are, let's say, 3 must-do things?
Yeah. So declutter.
Okay.
Number one, and like way more than you're thinking of decluttering.
Can
If
you
you
elaborate?
think you're done. So basically, for example, like nightstands, you want just the lamps on the nightstands, get everything else out, on all surfaces, on your kitchen counters, get off all your little appliances, all the things you use day to day. We try to keep out what's decorative and put away what's functional. It's a weird way to look at it, but also depersonalized. So you want to remove like any family photos, religious symbols. Sometimes people have weird artwork on the wall. So I've seen some things, okay?
No offense, guys.
Yeah, no offense to anyone. But just, and this is always in no offense, right? We're not against like a particular thing or whatever. We're making the house neutral. We're making it have, like, it's not personal. Because when you walk in and there's like a gallery wall of someone's life, well, then it kind of feels like someone else's home.
Like it belongs to someone else.
Exactly. So that's why we do that. You want to make it feel,
And what's the third point?
I think the third one I would say is get neutral bedding. Get new, really good bedding. It changes an entire room.
Okay, what do you mean by neutral?
So let's say you have a red bed sheet, like a red bed cover. Just let's do like all white or soft beige or gray. It really changes a room, just a fresh new set of bedding. Because the primary bedroom is another really important part of staging, because that's where, the sellers are going to be spending a lot of time, the buyers, sorry. So that's another, like changing out these little things, or like getting white curtains instead of like really dark, heavy ones, because again, you want to let light in. And so definitely little things like that we can do to change.
Light color does matter?
Yes.
What's your preferences? White, warm?
Why light colors?
Yeah.
They look better on photo and they look better in person too. Like if you walk into a hotel,
Oh yeah, okay.
what color are
That's a good analogy.
It's white, right? It's clean. It gives off that like clean vibe. So white is usually the way to go for staging.
Okay, some people say like warm colored lights are good in bedrooms. Are they?
Yeah. We try to do the same colored light everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, that you want to have the lighting be equal. Because when you have visits, you open up all your lights. So if you have one white light, one yellow light, you try to have that be the same. So that's a 3000 Kelvin light.
Wow.
To be technical.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everywhere, like in living area.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah. Yeah. Keep that all, because the 3000 is an in-between from that super white bright light, and there's like that really dull yellow light. The 3000 is in the middle. So it's a perfect balance of brightness and a little bit of yellow, because it feels warmer than a stark white light.
Okay, let's see the other side. What are the most common mistakes people should avoid? And there is no restrictions. You can quote as many as you want.
Mistakes. I'm trying to think. Well, if you hire us, you won't have a mistake.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I've seen a whole bear, like, I'm wondering how you say this in English, but empaillé, it means like a stuffed, when they stuff like animals that have been killed.
Oh, okay.
What's
so
the
from
word?
hunting.
Taxidermy.
Oh, right. Okay. Got it.
There was a dining room and there was a whole bear on the wall sticking out.
Wow.
Like that's and the person didn't see anything wrong with this. She was like, I hunt. This is my life.
And that was an urban house?
Yeah, that was someone's house. Yeah.
I mean, it's in urban area?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had never seen that before. I was shocked. And all the lamps were deer antlers. And so you don't want people coming in and like laughing or, being like, oh my God, what is this? So I just think it's important, again, on the points of depersonalizing, decluttering, and just keeping it simple, keeping it neutral, and you should be good to go.
As you mentioned,
you want to avoid too like really bold colors on your wall. There's nothing worse than being a buyer and you come in and you have to paint the entire house, and people don't want to do anything, anymore. They want to walk in and it's ready to go. So
what are the worst colors?
The worst colors?
Yeah.
I went in a house once and I think there was every color in the rainbow. It was like one room was red, one room's green. There's yellow in the kitchens, pink in the bedrooms, turquoise in another room. Like it was just.
And did you stage that house?
We did, and
how did you manage
they painted.
Oh, okay.
It was, and the sellers ended up telling me that they absolutely loved it, and they wish they would have painted sooner.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you mentioned in your talk that hire you guys and just avoid
you'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
We will avoid mistakes.
So let's talk about the professional aspect of this staging.
Yeah.
What are the advantages of hiring a professional stager instead of doing it by your own?
Yeah. Well, people are busy, and you're not doing this on your own where you have to go research, okay, but what do I need to do to sell my house? So we come in, we give you a detailed list of things to do. We try to make it easy for you too, of like where you should put your stuff, because we do make you take a lot out. So we always try to have strategies where we say, okay, let's use this closet or let's use this room, put all the stuff in there that we're removing. I forgot the question. I forgot the question.
Okay. So so advantages of hiring
Yes. Yeah. So basically you're not working on your own, and you have someone to help you. A little bit of why you should sell your house with a realtor instead of doing it on your own. I think the more professionals you have around you to help is better, right?
Let's make this question more difficult.
Okay.
So I saw, some people do staging through their realtor. I'm not talking about professional stager. Realtor have some stuff and they do staging for their buyers, for their sellers, versus hiring a professional stager.
Yeah.
What's the difference between both?
I've seen that too. Well, the difference is we do have a certification. So we do have like techniques and things that we follow. So we're not just randomly bringing stuff to your, like a flower or something. Because I've had a realtor tell me once, oh, you don't need to come in. I bring fresh flowers on photo day. And I was like, okay, that's not what we do. We do way more than that. But I think that we have the certification. It's a little bit like if I was to come in and be like, okay, I'm going to sell your house too and stage it. I think you should keep those separate. You focus on the job of selling the house, which is like way more work than needed. So we're there too to make the realtors' lives easier because we're kind of the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
So the realtor doesn't have to tell you that this is not nice or this should be changed. So we're kind of an ally to the realtor as well, that we kind of have difficult conversations with people, depending on the case and things like that. But if the realtor is staging themselves, like good on them. I mean, at least they're helping you get there, you know what I mean? And if they're not busy then that's what they have time to be staging, that's great.
I wanted to ask this question about the realtor actually. When you as a professional stager working in a property in a house, does realtor help you in any way?
No, not really. We want to make realtors' lives easier too. I mean, they are 90% of our business is realtors hiring us. So I want to take the preparation of the home off of their plate, right? But sometimes we will ask them to come in, and if we need to be moving stuff or boxes, or somebody's maybe a little bit older and doesn't have the help that they need, then I'll definitely reach out to the realtor, and in most cases they'll be happy to come help. But if not, it's don't be there when we're staging, let us do our thing, we got it, and yeah.
So who hire you? Is it the seller or the realtor?
It's both. But a big portion of who hires us is the realtor, because they know what the outcome is going to be, and that, their listings are going to look great. It's going to go better for their buyers. And I think there's a certain pride in having a listing that looks great and you've taken the time to give your clients the best service, not just put a sign up and
But a seller can also hire.
Sellers can also hire us. So if you're on Zuproprio, for example, or if you're for sale by owner, you can call us. If your realtor doesn't offer staging or doesn't believe in it, you can also call us, which does happen. So we're really open to either realtors, property investors, people who are flipping houses, and also people who are just selling their home without a realtor.
Okay. Are you comfortable talking about the costing? About the cost associated with staging?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. How much it hurt your pocket then?
It depends on the house, right? Like if we have a smaller house, it's going to be less than if we have a larger house. Also, an empty house is going to cost way more than just us coming in and using what you have and maybe adding in a few accessories.
Okay.
And also, I mean, if people have a certain budget that they need to stay within, we can also work with that. Or if people don't want to rent any accessories, they just want to use their things, we do that as well. So the packages really depend on the house, if the realtor's paying, if the client is paying. There's a whole bunch of different factors.
Okay, so what are the most important factors in deciding price? Is the size of house one? Yeah.
It's what we're bringing in.
Okay.
So if we need to bring in a lot of furniture, do I need to bring my movers in? Do I need a second stager? That will affect the cost for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the average cost, if you say, for less than $1 million house? What cost should be average cost?
Yeah, let's say somebody is living in the house and we're only bringing in a few accessories, but we're doing a consultation, a staging on photo day, and the addition of accessories. Could be between $500 and $700 for the service, and you have the rentals for 45 days also.
Okay.
So that would be just like a normal transaction where there's not too much to do. And
okay, so what is the most expensive client you had in your career?
my most expensive, I think it was a $3,800 contract in Ottawa, because the houses are worth a lot more. So you need to bring in different furniture and all that. Yeah. So that was my biggest project.
Okay.
So it varies. I mean, it's so different.
A lot, huh?
But that amount, because you have to hire movers, you need the truck. Those are expensive. Movers, I'm sure you might even be I don't know if you've had a chance to call a few moving companies yet.
I did not, but I talked to a few of my friends, but it's a lot.
It's something. So it's a huge cost. So,
because their cost depends upon number of person they are sending, and then they charge you per hour, and the cost goes like $200 per hour, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's massive.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we need to drop off the things, and we need to pick them up.
Oh.
So that's 2 times the movers.
What you prefer is like doing expensive staging or just like normal
the expensive ones are fun because it means the house is empty and I can just go wild on the design and everything. So those are my favorite because I love having the carte blanche, like just an open house that I can do. Yeah, those are my favorite.
Okay. Do you remember any success story where it created a massive difference in selling a house? I'm talking about your staging.
Yeah, I actually see a lot where either a listing has expired and a new realtor takes it on, and then they call me, and then we stage, and then we end up selling their home. It happens quite a bit. Or people who are on Zuproprio, which is like the for sale by owner website. Yeah. Them too, they'll like call us, we'll go in, we'll stage, and then the house gets sold. I see that quite a bit. Where we come in and get the house sold after it's been on the market for 6 months, it's not selling. Or
okay. Is it a good idea to stage every house when we're going for listing?
I think because we don't live in a staged house. Okay, maybe 1% of the world does. That's what I've noticed from being in 1,500 homes in the last 3 years, we don't live in a staged house. So I think everybody can benefit from staging. It doesn't have to be painting and repairs and the whole big thing. It can just be, we come in on photo day and make sure your house is going to look really good and presentable for the photos. But I think everyone needs a little bit of staging because it's not a natural thing to live in a house that's staged.
Okay, makes sense. Do you think there is any difference in staging a house in summer versus staging a house in winters?
Just for the outdoor. in the summer we can like add plants and mats in front versus the winter. It's, you're not working outside. And for us, it's like we're bringing in stuff, we're sliding everywhere. It's cold because you have to place all your stuff in your car and then bring it to the seller's house. So
like choosing colors and ornaments inside the house, there is no difference?
No. Okay. No, we keep it kind of the same. We'll do maybe in the fall a little bit of darker colors, and then in the spring kind of get lighter flowers, things like that. But it pretty much stays the same through the season.
So for winters, less efforts in making staging because you're not doing anything outside, right?
Well, and usually the outsides are pretty nice. That we don't do a lot outside. I mean, we'll place like exterior furniture, things like that. But no, then we don't have that during the summer, during the winter.
Okay. Is there any different strategy for staging a smaller property, like a condo or something?
Yeah.
Is there any different strategy?
Yeah, because we have to be really smart with the way we're using the space. Oftentimes in condo, storage is a huge issue. So we try to get, like, people are usually moving out of a condo to move into a house because they've grown out of the condo. Either they want a family or, they want to get together with a partner and then go in a house. So that's what I find with condos is we usually need to have a good strategy as to where we're going to put everything, whether that's renting a storage, going to your mom's house and using her basement to put stuff in.
Is it more expensive to stage a condo than a house?
It depends if you have to go and like get a storage, if the condo's empty. But if it's not empty and we're just bringing in a few accessories, then no, it would be the same as a house.
Okay. As you mentioned about the outdoor thing, right? So how important is curb appealing according to you as a professional stager?
Yeah, curb appeal. It's the first thing you see when you walk in. So if you walk in and there's a whole bunch of crap in the front yard or those overgrown weeds, the lawn isn't mowed, it's not giving you the best impression for what you're going to walk into, right? So it's very important to take care of the exterior as well as the interior.
Okay.
Especially the first rooms you see when you walk in, so.
Okay. These days, I listen a lot about this virtual staging.
Yes.
What is this virtual staging?
So virtual staging is basically taking an empty room and adding in, like, I don't even know how you say it, like digital furniture, I guess. Oh. So it makes the photos look amazing.
And then when people are going to visit it, they didn't find anything, right?
It's empty.
Oh, how does it work? Then it's just for photos.
Yeah, it's just for photos. But we always stress on the fact that we're not just staging for photos, we're staging for your visits as well. And what happens in an empty house is that you look at all the, if there's something, like you notice all the little things wrong, right? Because if you have an empty room, you're going to be looking at the baseboards, the floors, the ceiling. Yeah. So you'll notice all the little things that are wrong. But when there's furniture,
correct,
it just feels better. Correct. And you don't know the size either. Like, let's say you have a virtually staged bedroom. You don't know, did they put a double bed in there, a queen, a king, like what fits? So that's what we do too when we stage a room, for example.
Have you seen people selling their house as empty houses?
Yes. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it does happen for sure.
Okay. So is it harder or it doesn't make any difference?
I think it's harder. And again, because I visited empty houses, all you do is look at all the defects.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no life, there's no emotion, there's no, you don't maybe know how to place your furniture a certain way. It's not, you don't get that wow or like, okay, it feels like a home. It's just empty, it's cold.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I've had realtors tell me that they tell their clients that the house is empty. It was really, really nice in the photos, but you're going to walk in and it's, completely empty. So just be prepared for that.
Okay. Before we jump on to the next section,
yes,
let's go back to the career thing, right? We talked about stager as a career. You can do as a job as well, or it's just a self-employment thing?
Oh, you can do as a job for sure.
And who are your employers?
Yeah, so there are companies who are looking for home stagers. Like we will be in the next year for sure. There's people who can hire you, or if you own the business, you're definitely going to be looking for movers, stagers, people who do the accounting, etc. So there's definitely a lot that goes on behind the scenes.
Okay. If, let's say, a very young guy is watching this podcast, right? And he might have a little interest in staging. So where can he start his career in terms of money as a beginner? And where can he or she see himself after, let's say, 3 to 4 years?
Yeah. So I started with $0 because marketing online is free to start an Instagram, start a Facebook, reach out to a few realtors. But first, get your course done. That way you have a certification and you can call yourself a professional home stager, a certified home stager. And then you do the usual business thing, start your Instagram, your Facebook, maybe use photos of your own house, like stage your own house, take pictures of that. And then you can send out some emails to realtors. Realtors are going to be your best ally in this business particularly. And I remember when I first started, I used furniture from my house. You know, if I didn't have something, and because I was trying to keep my cost as low as possible when you start. So I would bring the curtains from my house, the dining chairs. Like we really went all in. But that's to start. You want to keep your costs as low as possible, and then as you grow, we have a detached double garage at my house. I converted that to my storage unit, so I started there. So again, my cost is low, and then I slowly started because we're the only company in this area in the Outaouais that has an inventory. So others are more outsourcing for their furniture. We have all of our furniture. So all the couches that I have are mine, the dining room. So we own all the inventory that we're using.
And
so
being a professional stager, you need to buy them as new, right?
Yeah.
You can't buy
you can rent them. There's places that you can rent them. I just had a bad experience with my first staging that I ever did. I make up an invoice with a company in Ottawa to rent stuff for my first staging. The house is empty. This is my first time I'm staging an empty house. So the day before I go to get the furniture, she tells me, oh, the couch isn't available. The dining room isn't available. This isn't available. So my staging's tomorrow, and I'm not rebooking it.
You're stuck.
So I got in my SUV. I went to Ottawa. I purchased a couch. I purchased everything, and I made the decision there that I was going to grow the inventory myself, so I never had to deal with a situation like that again. Because it's so nervous. Like I'm already stressed, right? It's my first staging, and then this. And then we don't have any of this that you've already pre-ordered, right?
That's a good learning for you. Huh?
Yeah. So sometimes you have to think on your feet, you know.
You work both sides of the river, right? Getting you as well.
Mostly here, but we do have contracts in Ottawa for sure.
Is there any price difference? I mean, is someone is more expensive than other? No.
I keep my prices the same regardless if I'm in Ottawa or here.
Okay. Yeah. And if we talk about in terms of earning, then a newcomer, how much earning he or she can expect?
Yeah. Do you want like a specific
just a range. Like, I don't want people to get fascinated by listening this talk and I want to stager. And when they jump into this career and they see, oh, I'm just going to earn like 30,000-40,000 a year or something.
That could be your first year.
Okay.
But I was working part-time.
Okay.
When I did a few empty houses. I did, I think, 4 empty houses that year. And then the rest was like a little bit like I did with you with the staging just on the day of photos. So I think the first year was around that 30,000.
Okay.
And now this year we're in the multiple 6 figures.
Okay, that's nice.
So,
that's nice. And what is the next level of this business?
The next level of this business for us, where I see us going, is I want a staff. I want to be able to, because we need to be fast sometimes. Like if someone's selling and they have a condition, on a new house that they need to sell their house, we need to be quick. So I always want to be accessible really fast for people. So my next step is I'm in the process of leasing a commercial storage, which I'm so excited about. I'm manifesting it that we're going to get it. So that's the next step. And also definitely hiring a team and really expanding this a lot more.
Okay.
But you could also be very content with just being a stager and not having a team and just, you have your own accessories and you rent the big pieces from another furniture store. That could also be an option. I like to grow and I want to see this get big. So that's just how I am. But there's a lot of avenues that you can take.
Okay. Let's take a contradictory type of question. I mean, what's the difference between hiring a part-time stager versus a full-time stager?
Well, we are kind of part-time all the time. Like you're rarely going to work 10 hours straight, you know, because when you move, you're very tired after, but I move multiple times a week, you know.
So my perspective is, let's say some guy is working in IT full time, right? And is doing just few hours in staging.
Yeah.
And a girl like you who's a full time professional stager.
Yeah.
So would there be any difference in the quality of work as well?
I don't think so. There doesn't have to be, because I mean, the quality of work we did when we started is the same. You know, I think it's so important to give the best quality work all the time, no matter what, whether you have 3 people that you're working for a week versus 50, you know.
Okay, but there would be a time restrictions, right? Because a full-time IT guy can only work on the weekends or in the late evenings.
And you don't do photos late evenings, so you need to come in before the photos. So it would be hard to do it as kind of a part-time gig.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And realtors, they want you to be available yesterday.
Monday,
you know?
Tuesday, never know.
Exactly. And quick.
Yeah, and quick.
Like I call you, can you go today, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You need to be available all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of your experience where you staged that house and you wished that you could live there?
All the time. It happens all the time. I just see so many like beautiful houses, so many cool houses, some that were built by architects, some that, you know, I mean, it's special people's houses. But if I think of one in particular, I saw...
And I want description as well. Why did you like that?
It was a $5 million house in Chelsea.
Goodness.
I live in Chelsea, as we were saying earlier.
Wow.
So... I don't even know if I can describe to you what this was. It's just every room was so grand, and the closet space, like the stager I was working, it was they renovated it, but it looked like a brand new build, like the garage space. You know, I was thinking for my inventory, but just such a beautiful home, and even the pool in the backyard had like a pool for the kids in it. Like and when we think that houses here are 450,000 on average, 5 million is absolutely insane. I've never seen that in my life, but this house was just so special. Yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, the time that they took to every little piece of the house is just so well thought out, and it was incredible. That would be my top house moment.
So you're still keeping your eye on that house when it's next coming on the listing?
maybe in a few years. No.
Okay, that's good. Let's say someone is very limited to budget, right? And you have a choice to do staging limited. So what will you choose? Living area, kitchen, bedroom, or the washrooms? Yeah,
so what we would do when people have a more limited budget, we do living room, dining room, and the primary bedroom. That's what I would recommend, like for sure. The most important rooms, I think, when you're visiting a house.
Okay. What is the first thing a buyer noticed when he entered in the room, in the house?
In the house? I think you notice just it depends too. I think different people probably feel different things. Like you don't want to walk in and first thing you see out the door is like there's just stuff everywhere. There's so much work to do because, you know, there's things that are not fixed or whatever. So I think they say that people make their decision on a house in the first like minute and 30 seconds that they walk in. So that first impression needs to be really, really good.
Okay.
And have you noticed when you're visiting houses, like, do you kind of know right away when you walk in if it's going to be good or not? Or?
I mostly work on, a vibe. When I enter home, I can't remember what the first thing I noticed. But whenever I enter a new property or like any new visits, it's the vibe I go for. If I feel like, wow, so I give more attention to that property. Otherwise, I'll just go visit and just leave it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say what is the first thing I notice or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember any most challenging client in your life?
Yeah, we have a few. Because I think maybe some people get very insulted. They take it very personally. or they might be going through, it might be very difficult for them, if they've been in a house for 40 years. Some people are very attached to material things. I noticed it right away.
Why you're taking out and all this stuff, eh?
Yeah, or you're touching, or you're asking like, hey, can we remove this? And they're just like, no. And I'm like, okay, no problem. You try to be, as nice as possible and maybe tone down. And that's where the communication skills come in handy. You need to feel how someone else is feeling when you're talking to them about something,
that's right.
To not go too intense, or you kind of see where they're at. But yeah, we've had our fair share of difficult customers. When, like, for example, I think we've seen maybe 850 people this year. So you're bound to get some different views. And
so you just talked about an example that is an example of a human interference, right?
Yeah.
If we just put this aside, what could be the most challenging task in a house, like a materialistic task for a stager?
It's sometimes like the layouts are very difficult to work with, or you walk in and you don't even know how to place the furniture. You're like, okay, I need to make this work so that when someone else walks in, they see. Those are probably the hardest, where the rooms are kind of weird, or the people like didn't want to paint, or they didn't want to do anything in the house. So now you have to work around all of these things. I'd say that's the most difficult. Like challenging layouts are, you have to figure out how to work with them and be quick to think. Or
okay, I think it's been like more than 40 minutes that we
really?
are talking.
Already?
Time is flying. So I would like to go in the last section, and that is kind of a rapid questions, rapid fire round kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting just small answers, like
I'll
1
try.
or 2 or 3
I'm
years.
so bad at small
Not
answers.
so many. I do have a few. Okay, let's start with the first one here. So one furniture piece every staged home must have.
A sofa.
Okay, in the living room?
In the living room.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I've walked into some single men's house and there's no sofa, there's no bed frame.
Wow.
So yeah.
So do you charge them more?
The single guys, sometimes we help them.
Okay, that's great.
I've seen a patio set as like a dining table.
Okay, nice.
Just a nice couch, clean. It's very good. It's usually the first thing you see when you walk in as well.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in most of the houses you enter in the living room.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, the first thing a buyer noticed when enter a house, I mean, you already answered it, right?
Yeah.
So it's the living room, is it?
Yeah, a lot of houses you walk into the living room. Or an entryway and then to the living room. It's one of the first things you're going to see is the living room somewhere in there.
Okay. Have you ever seen you staged everything well, right? But kitchen is not looking that well, and people are showing their disinterest just because of kitchen. Have you seen these examples?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think that's up to the sellers to chat with the realtor. Is it worth it for us to invest in redoing the kitchen, for example, or is it more worth it to lower the price?
Oh, okay. So that's the point of a negotiation.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's something we can't renovate your kitchen. We can make it look nice.
That's why I asked specifically for kitchen, because you can't do much in the kitchen. You just neat and clean and that's it, right?
Yeah. So if your cabinets are falling off and the counter is cracked and everything, well, that's something to look at.
You can't repair it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Wow, that's interesting though. Should the house smell like freshly baked cookies?
Some people say yes, some people say no. I think as long as it smells good, we're good.
What's your stand on this one?
Yeah, I like the cookies idea, or apple pie, or scent. You don't want those Febreze that you put into the wall that are absolutely atrocious. It's too much. Like it smells strong. So a natural smell, like a cooking smell of cookies or apple pie is great, I think.
Okay, something sweet. Eh?
Yeah, something sweet. Exactly.
Okay. Minimalizing or luxury? What sells faster?
It depends. If you're in a luxurious house, you should have luxurious furniture. Like it should fit the vibe, right? And
prefer simplicity over luxury, huh?
I think so. Yeah, it depends what you're going to see. If you're going to see a $2 million house versus a $500,000 house, you might expect different things.
Okay. So this question is more about the from the staging perspective, right? Because most of the stuff inside the house is not gonna belong to the new buyer, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna out.
It depends.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Some people, we keep all their furniture and just add accessories. Like it really depends. Case by case for that one, I would say.
Okay. Right. This is for colors. Bold colors or neutral tone for walls?
Oh, neutral.
Because you already answered it.
Yeah, and we are neutral. But I know some stagers would like to use like a bold color and everything. Just our style is very neutral. It's very calm. But we all have different kind of styles or flares that we put on our staging.
Okay. A quick question on the planning, right? So, should people plan this staging in advance?
That's such a great question. Yes. The best thing, if you know that you're selling, let's say right now, you're selling in the spring, you should call us right now for your consultation. That way you're not stressing out to get everything done in 3 days, you know? So the best thing is when we are in advance, that's the best. You know, you have like, you would do the consultation now and then you would have 4 months to be prepared, right? Versus like you call me and you're like, we put an offer in, we have to sell the house, now we have 3 days. Like that's so stressful. But
That's cool.
sometimes you have no choice, but if you have the choice, be in advance. That is the best scenario, because then you can paint and we can refer you painters and handyman. You have the time to prepare it way better.
Yeah, because if you need to change the colors and everything, you need time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Well, Sabrina, this was it. How was your experience been?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Did you have any expectation before we started?
No. I just came in. I was wondering what it's going to be like, but this was
Okay,
good.
great. So your working area is mostly Gatineau and Ottawa, right?
Yeah.
So
Gatineau, Elmer, Buckingham, we do all of Outaouais.
So we'll put your social media links and handles and contact details in the description as well, so that if someone wants to contact you for staging in this area, they can go and like follow you and contact you.
Perfect.
So before we end this podcast, do you want to give a piece of advice to the people who are planning to sell their house?
Call us.
A straightforward advice, right?
Just call us.
Simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call us or call a stager. I don't think you'll regret it. It's a great experience, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Sometimes realtor doesn't give an option for staging, right?
No.
In that case, is it a good thing to ask them? Maybe they can offer it as a complimentary thing.
Yeah, they should. They should, because there's a lot of realtors out here who offer it to their clients. So if people want to know any realtors who do offer our services, we have a whole list of them that we can refer to you.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much once again for being a part of my podcast journey. I really enjoyed all the talks.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. So guys, this was another informative session with Sabrina. I mean, I literally loved the talk because this is a segment people talk very less about it. The thing is, people take this segment of real estate for granted all the time, and this is the most important thing when you are trying to sell your house. So if you like our content, please share it with your friends and family as well. And if you did not subscribe the channel, this is the right time. Hit this bell button and you will get the notification for the new podcast very soon. So this is it for today, and we'll see you in the next podcast. Till then, take care. Bye bye.